welcome to Cards and Sharps. How y'all doing? Good, good. Glad to hear it. All right, what we got here is just a collection of knives I have not shown on previous videos. These are knives that I have picked up over some time at flea markets and gun shows, from tables where you see, you know, knives sitting there that, you know, pretty inexpensive and that sort of thing, that I have picked up just more out of curiosity. You know, I like knives, you know, so if I can get one cheap, I'll grab it just to see, because sometimes you wonder what you're going to get for that $5 to $10 range, and wonder if you can get one that's usable or if it's junk or whatnot. Totally junk, or can be used a few times, or anything like that. And some of these, you know, never going to use, just grabbed it because it was cheap, and it just kind of, something about it just looked cool, and I thought, well, you know, I'd like to look at it and hold it a minute. Alright, no particular order in favorites here. I'll just start with this one. This is one that I picked up at a gun show several years ago. It's an automatic, and just push the button and out it comes. It's got a safety on it so that you can put the safety on, put it in your pocket, and it's not going to deploy. And this one is actually one I have carried a lot more than I would think I would have, but you can see it's got a lot of wear. It spent a lot of time in pockets. Just hanging out there, getting beat up with keys and change and things like that. But in all the time I've had it, it has always worked flawlessly. You know, it's, you know, most automatic knives are fairly simple design. It's tight. It's actually, you know, it's Chinese made, of course. It's 440 stainless blade, nothing fancy there. But I didn't give a lot. I gave less than 20 bucks for it. I know, I can't remember what exactly it was. But it feels like frame feels like aluminum. I have no specs on it other than what is readable on the knife itself. But it does have a 2-inch blade, or actually, well, right at 2 inches. So this is one that actually I have taken when I've had to go to California. I've taken it with me because it's legal there. And it's got a serrated edge, or combo edge, serrated and straight. So it's kind of a versatile little knife for some different functions. So this is the other automatic knife I have in that little realm, and it too has this one has about a 2.5-inch blade. So it's presents a little more blade, looks a little more like a fighting type knife than that one does. And this one's got a safety on it as well. So because it doesn't even have a pocket clip, so it's strictly an in the pocket knife. But it too has a nice action to it. The blade material, it just says stainless, and it's got let's see if you can see that. It's got a cat on there. I don't know what that would indicate. Picked this up out of like a bargain box at a gun show, so paid maybe $5 for it, and it, you know, feels like it's worth $5. good action. It's again one that if you're going to a state that does allow automatic, but has a 3-inch blade restriction, it would work for that. And it's got some jumping on that blade there, so it's actually a pretty utilitarian knife. The blade is pretty bad off center on it, but it doesn't touch, so it doesn't interfere with the action. It's a little loose there. It does have a pivot screw adjustment, so probably could adjust that and tighten it up a bit. You can see it's just a regular Phillips head screw in there. You know, it screams cheap, but actually does not feel as cheap as a lot of parts on it look. All right, get into cheap. If you guys have been to flea markets and places like that, and you see these knife cases, this is a knife you'll probably have seen. I've seen this knife everywhere. When I've seen it, I thought, well, that's pretty cool. It looks like a 2-edged dagger, but it's not. It's just got one edge on it. But it looks pretty cool, and it's got a blade up, pocket clip. I mean, a lot of good, potentially good items. It's a liner lock with a nice little tab for sliding that liner over. Blade's way off center. And it doesn't really feel real loose, but it is very bad off center. And if you will look, I may have took it out and opened a box or something with it, a time or two, or had it in the toolbox. It's just something to scrape some gaskets or something like that. And you can see that blade just flaked off. I mean, it split off. That's a very cheap blade material. It says 440 stainless on it, but very, very poor quality. So knife isn't really worth much, and I'm pretty sure I didn't give much for it. The blade's pretty flimsy. It moves around a lot in there. That is a cheap one. And I've had it a long time. It's got a lot of gunk built up in it and everything like that. It's too heavy. I never carried it in my pocket. I bet it's a good 6 ounces, it feels like. Let's take a look. About 5.5 ounces, so it's a heavy knife. Like I said, you see this one around at a lot of flea markets, in the knife cases and things like that. I would not recommend anybody spend any money to get that. That's a knife you could use maybe for something one time, and then that would be it. Here's a knife somewhat disappoints me. I know, different companies, like gun companies, things like that, will lend their name to knives, and they don't make them. So this is not going to be an indictment on Smith & Wesson's ability to make guns, but it does sour me that they will put their name on junk. And other gun manufacturers that will do that as well. Some will, I understand they want to get their name out there. This is a Smith & Wesson cutting horse. Well, first I got it because it was I've seen it at a show, and it was a pretty nice looking knife, and it said Smith & Wesson. I like Smith & Wesson, so thought I'd grab it and give it a try. One thing, tip down carry only. can't move it to tip up. It does have some jimping on the back, and the handle actually fits my hand pretty nice, but that pocket clip is just terrible. It's one, it's kind of sprung, and it comes in that shape of it. You would definitely feel it in your hand. So if you were using this knife a lot, it does create a hot spot. Plus the frame in the back is sharp. You feel that when you're holding it. It just, it screams cheap. The blade itself holds a pretty good edge. I got it to where it's pretty nice and sharp. This one is not one I would carry or did carry it set. Had a pickup. It just sat in the console as my console knife when you just needed to cut some package open, or just need to cut something and you're in the car and you don't want to reach in your pocket or something like that. It's something you can reach down and grab pretty easy. And just sitting in my console, it lost, these screws come in, they had a barrel and screws on both sides. Both screws here came out, and then one of the screws here came out and the other's loosened, and this thing was flopping around and looser and all get out. And how it does that, just sitting stationary in a car, don't know. But yeah, like I said, that was pretty cheap made. And these are inexpensive knives. You can pick up Smith & Wesson branded knives for 10 to 20 bucks. And some of them look pretty nice and feel pretty nice on first look, but if you're looking for a quality budget knife, I would not pick those. But there's that. This is one, you probably see these at flea markets, knife shows, things like that, from the cheap tables. This one is a American Patriot knife. You'll see them with a little badge for the military branches, Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, whatnot. And actually, this one is assisted opening, and it has a nice action on it. And it has the Gadsden flag emblem of "Don't Tread on Me," and then it has the, looks like some Latin or French there, "Nemo me impugn la cassette." Not sure if that's just French for "Don't tread on me," or if that's says something else. Those that you understand what that says can enlighten me. But it's cool. I enjoy the Gadsden flag and the "Don't tread on me" symbol. It says RR530 stainless, handcrafted in China. So it's Chinese made, as we would expect. It does seem kind of funny at times when you think about China and making, patriotic items for the United States, but oh well, they'd do anything for a buck. It's liner lock. I don't know if you can see it in there, but that liner barely grabs that blade at all. I can actually break it loose by hand, and now once I've done that, now it doesn't want to relock. Tip down carry only. Now this is a kind of a rescue knife design. It's got the belt cutter and a glass breaker in there, and for a knife, it might be a decent glass breaker, and I have not tried the belt cutter. Can't tell how sharp that is, but it's again, this was like a $5 knife, so wasn't expecting much and didn't get much. it's not a knife I would carry or use. You know, it's got a cheap feel to it. It just has a kind of looks cool. So that would be a display knife only, just something that you put out as a decoration. For that, it serves a decent purpose. Alright, this is one that you may have probably seen, heard of. These are actually, can be the higher of the really low end knives. This is a Wartech, and you'll see these around at your flea markets and little booths at knife shows and things like that. And this one's been around the block, and so it's got feels like aluminum scales on it with a stainless liner. It's got some heft to it, but actually for the size of it, it's not that heavy. And this knife has gotten a lot of use for me over the years. It was one I picked up pretty cheap. These Vortex will generally go in the $10–15 range. Like I said, they're kind of the higher end of the really low end knives. This was a console toolbox knife that, or going out to do yard work or something like that. You know, kind of knife, and has actually gotten quite a bit of use over the years. When I don't want to beat up on a quality knife, this would be usually the one I'd grab to use. Now this one, you can hear, I don't know if you can hear it, it's got some grittiness sound to it. This one served as the guinea pig in a little experiment I did with, if you can catch the video, if I can think of it, I'll put the link in there. Did a video on the Pacific Salt Spyderco knife with the salt rust-proof steel made for use around corrosive environments such as seawater and things like that. And back when we went down to the Gulf Coast to go on a cruise, I did an experiment where I put the salt and this knife, dipped them into the Gulf water, salt water, and then put them in a plastic baggies and let them just sit there and wet from that salt water for a week while we were going on a cruise. And then when I got home, I took them out and examined any effect on them. This one actually had a little surface rust on it. Oh, and by the way, as you would see, the salt came through unscathed. No evidence of any corrosion whatsoever. But this one did develop a little surface rust here. And in the pivot, I don't know if it's just some salt settled in there, but it does have a gritty action to it now. You can feel the grit in there. Where used to, I could actually, it'd flip open pretty easy. It was a pretty free operating knife. And I think it could be cleaned out pretty well. And I haven't cleaned it, oiled it, or anything even since in the several months since that experiment, and it hasn't deteriorated anymore. So, so really, it, just a good cleaning, I think it would be working like it used to. It's been sharpened a few times. Blade doesn't hold an edge too great. It's 440 stainless also, which you see a lot in your really inexpensive knives. But it sharpens up pretty well. Blade's off center, but it's tight. So, but not enough that it don't really affect the action. It just might catch a little on that side. Alright, that's the Wartech. And last, but not least is this little cool gem. This is a ninja knife. You can see a little ninja on there. It is a liner lock, and it feels like it's assisted opening because it opens real well. Reminds me of a Kershaw, the way it feels when it opens. Doesn't take much effort and it pops right open. So a liner lock, and actually that liner got a 50% lockup on it, and that blade is dead on center. So it's kind of silly look, kind of belies the fact that it appears to be a fairly well put together knife. It's a little heavy, and it's got that finish on it. It's kind of a slick feel, but it's got so many textures and etchings in there that it gives you have what feels like a good grip. And the way you got that double, I don't know what you call that, tangs or yeah, you get a pretty good grip on it. It feels pretty secure, even though it doesn't have any jumping back or anything. And you got this hole. I guess you can put your finger in there. Gives you a little extra whatever you need a hole in your middle of your blade for. It's not a double edge as it looks like it could be. And here's one thing that is gets me when you just go pick it up. It's like, which way do you open it? It takes you a minute to realize that the purple side is the side that actually flips. That's the business end. And on this side, it looks like you can flip it, but it will not. So, actually, it's a really, good action on the knife. Tight, perfectly centered. Tip down only, but I mean, who cares when you got that cool ninja mask or whatever that is on the pocket clip. And just so you know, it's a ninja knife. It's got both sides has a ninja on it, and it does have a glass breaker. So no ninja would be complete without being able to break auto glass. And we do have Japanese symbol on this side of the blade, and on this side we got all kinds of advertisement. It's the Master Collection, and it's designed by whoever's symbol that is, and then whatever that says. So that was just a knife I grabbed. I think I paid $5 for this, and it was just too cool to not take. It's a silly, yes. It's a goofy looking knife. Not one that you consider a serious knife for the collection. It was just for $5. Anything's worth $5. So I thought I had to have that just for that. Just so I can own a rainbow shimmering ninja knife. Alright, there you have it. This is some of the pocket knives I have picked up at flea markets and from the bargain tables at gun and knife shows over the years. I've got others. These are just some of the more interesting ones. And I've also got fixed blades, so we may do a video on the fixed blades. I got all some of the ones with the really wild designs and things like that. Might be kind of fun to look at. So there you have it. Junk or not? Are they worth money or not? So let you guys decide. If you like this video, hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll see you guys next time.